why I think black culture is keeping people poor. Now, this is not a race channel, but I am African American and I am of African descent. And if you're African American and you're watching this video, I think some of the things that kind of keep our culture poor is our culture itself. Let me explain. So, African Americans have a culture of when someone goes to jail, they celebrate him when he gets out. That's African American culture. They celebrate him. They throw a big party. Hey, Pookie's back home. Ray Ray's back home. Little JJ's back home, and they celebrate that. Whereas, if you look at it, maybe a Nigerian culture, you are looked down upon, or you um, have or they don't celebrate things like that. They celebrate you getting your MBA or you getting a degree or you becoming a lawyer or a doctor. They celebrate shit like that. You have a big party for that. But they don't celebrate people getting out of jail, beating a case, anything like that. I mean, unless they were actually innocent. I guess beating the case is great, but like that's not like in their priority. You know what I'm saying? They're usually the lawyers in the case, not the ones getting prosecuted. So that's a one of black culture attributes that is kind of the antithesis of wealth, right? If you go to jail, I'm not saying if you go to jail you can't go, make a lot of money, but what I'm saying is it's not. I don't think it helps. You know what I'm saying? I don't think it helps you make a lot of money, right? So that's one, main reason why I think black culture just is toxic for creating wealth. That's why, when it comes to income in America, black people are at the bottom, right? Secondly, things like, you know, I'm not just pointing out women, right? I mean, but our women would rather date. Like I see it on these pop the balloon channels, right? Our woman would rather date the dude that looks like he just got out of jail, big buff, tatted up, and with dreads and earrings or whatever, or just look like he's fresh out of jail. Our woman would rather go with that than go with a lame, what they call a lame. You know what I'm saying? Like they rather go with someone like that instead of someone who's, got like an astrophysics degree and makes like 300K a year. But because he doesn't act a certain way, you know, they don't want to be with him. You know what I'm saying? Or act or look a certain way. He doesn't look like a criminal. He doesn't look like a thug, and so he doesn't get any play. You know what I'm saying? So what you'll see is, I mean, if you look at any other cultures, I mean, well, yeah, if you do look at any other cultures, like the ones that are at the top, they don't give a fuck about what you look like. Some of these ugliest dudes be the richest, and I mean, and they chick be average too, to be honest with you, because they don't marry at the top for love necessarily. They marry for opportunity growth, the coming together of families. It's more about duty. It's more about family. It's more about business when it gets to the top. You know what I mean? It's more about that than anything. It's not really about how they look or if they love you or shit like that. It's about bringing together families. Like if you look at the top earnings race, it's not white people. Most people think it's white people. It's actually Indian. I know that, and I seen an example of that at my old job when I worked at the gold company. The CEO and the founder was an Indian guy. And so I see that and I say, wow, these guys are really coming over and they taking over the country. And so that's why I'm like, that's why black culture is keeping us poor. It just is what it is. I mean, it's just basic. It's like it's absolutely keeping us poor because everything we do in black culture is the antithesis of wealth building. We spend money on flashy cars that we can't afford. We want to look rich before actually being rich, right? We want to have the nice jewelry. We want to have, like, if you look around, you think black people would be the wealthiest because they have the nice jewelry, the nice car, even a nice house sometimes. But truthfully, they're broke, cash broke. right? And and there's nothing wrong with having nice things. And I think if you make money and you can get nice things, but it's usually the ones that look the flashiest that have nothing left in the bank. So just understand that, be aware of that, and know that it's out there. A lot of these people are faking on YouTube. A lot of these people are faking in real life. You know what I mean? They're broke in real life. They're struggling, paying a paycheck to paycheck. I used to date a girl who made good money. She was making like 100K. And she was like, man, I need to make more money. Granted, it's cool if you want to make more money, but I'm like, you need to make more money because you got an expensive car payment and a apartment that you really can't afford by yourself. That's the reason why you want to make more money. And I seen that. And it's nothing wrong with wanting to make more money. It's nothing wrong with having nice things. It's just, can you actually afford it first, though? That's the question you have to ask yourself. It's like, can you actually afford it? Me, I love living below my means, bro. I was in Cali for 6 years, bro. I was paying $500 for rent. I made 25,000 in 1 month, bro. You understand that how much money I could after taxes is like in California, it's like 12.5. But do you understand how much money I had just stashed away because my rent was like 500? You know what I'm saying? Like I had at least I had about 13, 1400 just stacked away. 14,000, I'm sorry. And I was young. I was like 28, 29 at the time. 30 maybe. 30, yeah, 30 at the time. That was last year. Um, and so when you realize that and you experience that and you make that happen, you realize that like most of the people that made more money than me didn't have more saved actually in the bank than me. You know what I'm saying? Like it doesn't matter if you make $1 million a year if you spend 900,099. You know what I'm saying? $999,099 every. You know what I'm saying? If you spend every dime you get, then it doesn't make you just as broke as somebody who makes $1 million or who makes no money and spends all their money. So I always find ways to live below my means, but I always find ways to increase my means at the same time. I never just live below my means and live poor just to live poor. I live poor so I can invest in things that's gonna make me more rich, right? Like when I was there, I was making, my rent was $500 a month. I actually bought a car to actually rent out. I didn't want to buy the car for myself. I actually rented it out. We were making like $1,000 a month off that car. I didn't even have a car. I bought assets before I buy liabilities. That's my kind of like my rule. People think I'm weird. Like, why don't you have a car? I'm like, bro, I'd rather buy a car to rent it out to make money for me than to buy a car just to drive. And so you have to start thinking like that. You got to start thinking like a fucking assets before liabilities. But live below your means, make more, and live below your means. And when you make more, don't increase your expenses, right? When you make more, still live below your means. But black culture is keeping us poor. So if you're African American, don't fall for that. Speak well. That's another thing. And the last point. If you speak well in the black culture, they like to call you white or tomfoolery or whatever they want to call you. If you speak a certain way, if you have a certain vernacular, they like to make fun of you. Or even if you're in school and like you do well, like, this nigga's a nerd. You know what I'm saying? He's smart. Like, it's the antithesis of wealth. Like, why are you making fun of kids that are smart? Like, you know what I mean? You see even studies that show that if bright kids grow up in bad environments, and then you got not so bright kids, but they grow up in good environments, the kids that grow up in good environments actually do a lot better than the bright kids that grew up in bad environments. And so our culture teaches people to be stupid, be dumb. And it's just ruining us as a culture. And what we need to do to get better is we need families back together. There needs to be a mom and dad in the house for the kids. The kids need to be well educated. We need our moralities back intact because I'm telling you, and it's not just female rappers, it's male rappers too, bro. Female rappers get a lot of fucking heat, and they should because they're terrible. But also male rappers too, bro. And I fall back victim to that too. I like rap, but there's no more conscious rap. I mean, you got maybe J. Cole. That's about it. Everybody else has just sold their soul to the fucking devil because Megan Thee Stallion, Nicki Minaj, even Lil Wayne. I mean, fucking Trippie Redd. I like Trippie Redd's music. It's dope, but it's killing our culture 100%. Like it's toxic as fucking, and getting your face tatted, and you're never gonna get a fucking job, bro. And nobody's ever gonna fucking trust you. And so, what you have to understand is that's ruining our culture, bro. Making fun of kids that are smart, women, marrying the thug that just got out of jail, and then making a kid with that person. Nothing against people in jail or who went to jail, but like you have to pick a good mate. If something happened and maybe he changed, people change all the time, but you gotta make that happen too. So, all right, guys, it's your boy Vic back on the video. Peace.